Hi, welcome to Awakening Soul Truth. I'm Robbie. I'm a yogini. This is my friend Allison Ledbetter. She's a medium. We're both Reiki masters and meditation teachers. We lead retreats, and we thank you for joining our program today. Our program today is about resurrecting the divine feminine, because we believe if the divine feminine is resurrected and healed, this will bring balance to the earth, to the planet, and we'll be able to ascend to the new earth with balance.
Right. The feminine energy has literally been erased, destroyed, demonized.
Oh, yeah.
Really taken the power of the feminine energy away. But what's happened by that cycle, and I just want to make it clear, we're not saying that men are the cause of this, even if we don't really know what put into motion this destruction of the feminine energy. We are in a situation now where men are playing a particular role and women are playing a particular role, where the men are more dominant and the women are subservient.
That's why it's been called the patriarchal world.
Yes.
And we're not saying there needs to be a matriarchal world.
No, we're not saying that. We're saying we have to actually come into balance with each person expressing some of these feminine characteristics,
yes,
which are missing from our society. One of the most important aspects of the divine feminine for us to restore on the planet is the honoring of the
birth, life, death, rebirth
cycle. So the birth, life, death, rebirth cycle is clearly all over nature, all over the universe, and should be honored. And really leads us to this belief of reincarnation, that we are always going to have some type of expression, regardless of where it is in the cycle and what phase it is in.
Yeah, in the Eastern traditions, they have a symbol called the yin-yang symbol, or the yin-yang, is like I like to say. And it's kind of a paisley design, and one side represents the feminine, one side represents the masculine. But even in the feminine, there's a dot of the color that represents the masculine, and within the masculine, there's one that represents the feminine. So it's this perfect, like, symbol of harmony. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that position of harmony and unity is where we're attempting to go.
Yes, if we want to...
Even though we're seeing tons of resistance. I mean, lately, in the last decade, I have felt like there's been a little bit of a charge against women, right?
Yes, I think,
and women are getting louder, like with the Me Too movement, trying to bring up some of these points of oppression.
Mm-hmm. I think they're becoming louder, and we're seeing, we're bringing consciousness to patterns. So because women are starting to own their power and find their value and connect to love, we're beginning to see what the things are that are holding us back. Mm-hmm. And that is societal structures. A lot of the structure came from the Judeo-Christian philosophy. That really hurt women. And then in other major religions, you're seeing male dominance and power. I mean, inability for women to be in power or be honored. Mm-hmm. I think that's the real key, that the feminine energy isn't honored. So that ability to nurture, that ability to take care of life, to literally birth form.
Yeah.
One of my favorite new concepts is the idea that women, actually, the feminine has birthed creation, to actually be the counterpart to the God energy or the consciousness. And when consciousness came into form, it happened because of the divine feminine.
I'm glad you brought this up, because I like to bring in the yogic philosophy, and there is something in yogic philosophy called Purusha, which represents that consciousness or that intelligence behind creation, and the Prakriti is the kind of the creative energy or anything that's manifested. Mm-hmm. So in a way, it's like the masculine and feminine, even though it may not be said masculine, feminine.
Right. So a concept that the divine feminine or that there is actual form
Mm-hmm.
that rose out of consciousness or ideas and just thought. And for it to come into form,
Yep.
you had to have the physical part. And I recently was reading from Michael Mirdad. He wrote this book called The Daughters of Heaven. And it's fascinating because he referred to the Holy Spirit as the Divine Mother. And
I haven't heard it called Divine Mother, but I have
Yeah.
seen it represented as feminine.
Yes. He calls it the Divine Mother. I was like,
Wow.
wow. And that, again, it's thinking about that ether or that energy that we see when we call up the Holy Spirit, and actually having that have that feminine characteristic. I really love that because so much has been patriarchal and God being a man. It's like, what? God is not a man. God is like neutral.
Genderless.
Like that. It's
Yeah.
so genderless.
I would feel like he holds the best of both.
Absolutely. Well, I think he holds everything.
Mm-hmm.
Or I just said he. We're so trained. Here we are, two women that are dedicated to resurrecting the divine feminine. When the two of us are very, very clear about God being a neutral energy. Pure divine source. I love saying pure love as God. I think it's an interchangeable thing there. Or pure knowing. Or pure acceptance. It's so pure and raw and big. Right? So, we restore the divine feminine. Oh, which gets us to that healing.
Oh, yeah. I reminded Allison, I remember there was a healing that she did with me back in, was it March? Or May? I think it was March. And it involved healing the divine feminine.
Robbie came in and we found that her divine feminine energy was really, really stuck. Through her past lives, you could see all of these black shards of a woman that had really been battered. Really showed up with the archetype of the wounded divine feminine energy. And something that reminds me of the same picture that I saw with Robbie comes from that movie Moana.
There was a goddess on there that was very angry, fiery, pissed.
And her name was Fidi. In the movie Moana, there is this goddess that her heart was stolen by
Maui.
And she became very angry and distorted and fierce.
Destructive.
And, wanting to get her heart back, she literally became destructive and fire. And once the heart was returned, she became the mountain again. She became soft. And she returned to her light, her true nature. So this kind of happened on a journey with Robbie. I initially saw her with these black shards all over her body and looking just fierce and angry and wounded in every single way. And it was from lifetimes of experiencing being devoured by the male energy to really being controlled and belittled and not having worth. And so we really did a lot of work on healing and feeling the worth. And as we did this, we started to run kind of like a pure golden egg through her body. And that egg really represents the divine feminine. And it was so beautiful. It came in many different forms. There was a big one, there was a little one, there was one coming down through and then encircling your entire body. At one point, they were just running straight through your leg, right? They were like, just going straight through.
I think they were pouring out of my leg and planting seeds.
Right. And then
under the soil so that once people started to awaken and started to welcome the divine feminine, then this could give them that creative power, right?
Absolutely. So this is exactly how you became that conduit. So we were moving through energy through her body, and it started to lay eggs, literally. And a gold beam came straight through the top of your head also. and aligned all of your chakras and restored.
Turn them gold.
Every part of her turned gold. And this golden egg of birthing was so present during this healing. It was just beautiful. As the eggs went in to the earth and laid a foundation, we started to notice that they came up as pillars all over the earth. So every single continent started to experience these gold pillars as kind of this landing place. And I was like, wow, we're just going to really hold energy and connect them, because I don't know if you know, but in ancient Egypt, they had all of those obelisks that sent energy out, and they could connect different parts of the world. And they think it was an energy system of the Egyptians. So that's real. And energetically, when those obelisks or pillars come out of the ground, I can connect them and kind of make a grid. And this was kind of making of the divine feminine grid. But then something exquisite happened. And we started witnessing the rebirthing of so many of the divine goddesses. I don't even know all their names, right? I mean, it was like on every continent, the representation of their spiritual beliefs prior to this patriarchal society that we live in. We're rebirthing all over the world. And it was absolutely beautiful. And I think it's also an indication that needs to happen on a collective level.
It's available. Well, it's showing it's available now.
Yeah.
And we absolutely need to harness that energy and bring it in.
Absolutely. So, to wake up your own divine feminine energy. Being female does not mean you're over emotional.
Yes, because, let's explain that really quick. Because I mentioned the yin yang symbol. So oftentimes when you look at yin yang, masculine, feminine, hot, cold.
Yes.
Right? We're considered the cold ones. Sun, moon, light, dark, active, passive, stable, emotional. So we're
wow, that was well said.
Yeah, and then the masculine intellect, and then the feminine intuitive.
Yes.
So yes, we do agree that some of these are correct with the feminine idea or feminine nature. However, we disagree with the emotional part.
Right. Women are not more emotional or supposed to be more emotional than men.
That has never been my experience. Growing up, my father was the most temperamental person in the entire family. The men that I've lived with, moodier than me.
Yeah. So and I had the opposite growing up. I had a father that never emoted.
Well, okay. You know what? That's probably why the masculine is considered the unemotional ones and women considered the emotional ones, because there are some men that are cut off from their emotions, like your dad.
Yes.
So that does exist.
And we're really clear
but some women are too.
That emotions are part of the human design. It's not masculine or feminine, because it is a way of communicating from your intuition into your body. Emotions tell you so much about your spiritual truth, about how you really think and believe about things. It's an expression of energy. It is just the human design. So men have been told they aren't allowed to feel.
Don't cry, buck up.
Right. And they're a mess. Y'all are a mess. And we might actually think that the warring cycle of I don't know what to do with this emotion. When you block and hold emotion, guess what happens? It becomes anger.
It festers and you react.
Very reactionary.
You either implode or explode.
And that explosion might be the source of some of the warring.
You think so? They use explosives.
Yeah. We really feel like the more men can emote, the better. Oh, and you know what I've noticed is some women in my process of healing them, have stopped feeling because they think that's the way to survive our world. If we're turning off of our emotions to survive our world, that's a problem.
Yep.
So we encourage you to emote.
Marianne Williamson is a public speaker and an author, and she happens to be running for presidency right now.
She's a spiritualist.
And one thing that, and I'm not promoting her, I don't care who you vote for or if you support her or not, but one thing that I love is that one big piece that she keeps bringing to the table. She brought it up actually in 2020 when she was running for
presidency.
When she was running for a presidency then, and she's bringing it up again. And I'm just saying it because as a woman saying this, or that thought of it, she was like, we have a department of this, department of that. How about a department of peace? And I'm like, yes. Why don't we have a department of peace? That's really important.
It's so obvious to us. Why don't we have that? Good idea. Anybody who wins, could you please deploy or build the Department of Peace?
I just heard from BBC.
This is huge.
That India just passed, I don't know if it's a law or whatever, that 33% of the seats of the government or parliament is supposed to be women now. 33%.
They have to be designated to women.
Yeah.
That's huge.
I mean, we in the United States aren't even to that point yet.
No.
I think that's amazing.
It really is beautiful. So women, we are truly encouraging you to take back your power, to live balanced, to recognize your own emotions, to recognize the nurturing, the love, and honor these spaces. The spaces that have been taken away and destroyed and released from our society, because we have to restore the feminine in our society if we want true balance again. So in our need to heal the divine feminine, we are offering a retreat next June of 2024, and it will take place in France, and we are going to restore our own divine feminine energy. It's a little bit of a pilgrimage to where Mary Magdalene and Mother Mary supposedly went to after the crucifixion of the Christ, which I call the murder. And this is to truly look at the divine feminine energy. So not just these two iconic women, but we will also look at the Tara, the Sophia, with other feminine energy.
Oh, I will bring in some Hindu goddesses for sure.
Yeah.
Probably Saraswati, Durga, Kali, Lakshmi.
Isis is one of my favorites. So
Tara.
We are going to explore the divine feminine on this retreat of June 2024.
We're going to do a meditation today, since we were talking about the resurrection of the divine feminine, also bringing back this cycle of birth, life, death, rebirth. In yoga tradition, we have a meditation that's simple, and I'm going to hold it in my hand so you can see it. And you can do both of your hands. So it's bringing the forefinger to the thumb, separating middle finger to thumb, separating ring finger to thumb, separating pinky finger to thumb. And we add in sa, ta, na, ma. Sa, ta, na, ma. Sa, ta, na, ma. I think you've got it.
What does
and
that
that
say?
means birth, life, death, rebirth. Birth, life, death, rebirth. Birth, life, death, rebirth. And if you like mantras and mudras, you could pull up on this, YouTube channel. You could just Google Satanama, and you'll find meditations on this that are songs, and they're singing it, and you can just sit and do the mudra with it. You could sit, chant, and do the mudra with it, and it's fantastic. So have your palms resting open on your lap. That way your arms and shoulders don't have to work too hard for the hands to hover. And then close your eyes. And let's just take a moment to breathe into the body. So often the breath is on autopilot. And go ahead and begin to visualize as you're breathing in and out through the nose, this golden light shining down through your crown, through the astral spine, and even moving down into the earth below. Allow that golden light to set your whole body, mind, heart, spirit aglow. Gold has a really high frequency. Continue to breathe as you have this imagery coming in. Sa, ta, na, ma. 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 3 more. Sa, ta, na, ma. Sa, ta, na, ma. Sa, ta, na, ma. Birth, life, death, rebirth. 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 3 more. Birth, life, death, rebirth. Birth, life, death, rebirth. Birth, life, death, rebirth. Take 3 big breaths.